Okay, so I'm now going to show you how I find transits on the Regulus program, and I've got it set up for a chart which is a fictitious chart. As you can see, I have set it for whoever, wherever, on a fictitious date, a fictitious time, and living in London. Then what I do is in order to find transits for a particular date, I go down to where it says, a bit further down, it goes to, and you can see it says transit. So under transit analysis, it says transit radix. So I click on that and a little box pops up and it's asking for a date to be put in here. So if you put the date that you're looking for a transit for in there and click OK, then the chart changes and it shows, in the inner circle it shows the natal planets, and in the outer circle it shows the transiting planets. So you can see, for instance, that on this particular chart you can see that Uranus here is making a square to the moon, the natal moon, and in fact Pluto is actually conjunct the moon as well. Then, if you want to see what happens in a week or a month's time, for instance, you can go up to this little date box up here, right click on it, and it comes up with options. If you go into options and then change date panel, another box pops up and it says plus a day, minus a day, plus a week, minus a week, etc., or other. So you can go in and choose whatever date you want. So if we change by plus, if we click plus a day, which I shall do in a minute, but I shall focus on the chart, and you can see the chart changing with plus a day, plus another day. You can see the chart changing. Or if I do plus a month, you can see quite a drastic change. So you can see what the planets, where the planets are going to be, where the transiting planets are going to be compared with the natal planets, whenever you want to, really. Or, as I say, you can click on the little box that says other, and it comes up with this box again where you can change the date and choose a date that you want to see the transits for. Then there's another way that I find transit. So if I get rid of that little box, if I go back down to here, and I'll change it back to radix because Regulus doesn't seem to like it very much when you go from one chart to another without going into the radix first. So I'm going to go down to transit analysis again. So going into transit analysis, and this time I'm going to click on transit graphs. So I'll click on that one, and this panel comes up and you can enter the date that you're interested in the transits for. You can change the location as well. I presume that's for if the person has moved, but I never bother with that because I'm looking at it in relation to the birth chart. So then I click on OK, and you just have to wait for this little timer thing to go along, which does like to take rather a long time to do. So we just wait for that to happen for a minute. When you've got Mercury conjunct Mars, you don't like waiting very much, but hey, one has to. Right, and then you get this chart come up, which, because I've been into it before, comes up with this page. You might need to right click on it and choose, oh sorry, yes, I'll take that back to individual planets. That's how it normally comes up. So you get Sun transits, Mercury transits, etc. But if you right click on that and go down to outer planets in 1, then you just get the outer planets, which is what you're interested in with transiting planets. And down this side here, down this column, are all your natal planets. And then if you look along here, you can see, for instance, I don't know if you can see that clearly, but Jupiter is making a square to natal Pluto. And if you follow that along, you can, if I go down that way, so that down there is, down there is 17th of the 8th, which is the date that we were looking at the transits for. And if you go back up to Pluto, you can see that there will be another transit square from Jupiter, Jupiter squaring Pluto again. And then if you follow that down, you can see when it's next going to square, etc. So you can see where all the transiting planets will be, and this is set for a period of a year. So you've got a year's worth of transits on a graph on here. So that's another useful one that I find useful to use. The other thing is, and I'm going to go back into that radix again to take the chart back to the radix, and then I am going to go down again to transits, and this time I'm going to click on transit search. So if I click on that, this little box pops up, which you can find when a particular transit is going to happen. So you can choose to go into, say, Jupiter, click on Jupiter, and you can choose what aspect you're looking for. In this case, we've got a conjunction, so let's leave it at that. You can say, when is it going to conjunct Venus? And you can put a start date for when you want to start searching. So I'll leave that on today's date. And then if you click Start Search, it tells you in the box below that the next Jupiter conjunct Venus is going to be on the 15th of the 8th, 2013, and which will be when Jupiter is 10 degrees 57 of Cancer. And if you go down to that little box there, it says draw over the original chart. So if I click on that, and then you can see you've got the chart for that date with your natal planets, and you can see that Jupiter there is indeed conjunct Venus, and actually it's also opposite the moon. So those are the ways that I find my transits, which are quite good. And then of course you probably know that under tools you've got an ephemeris as well, so you can look on in the ephemeris for whatever date you want to choose well, if we do begin, then you've got the ephemeris as you would in your ephemeris book, so you can look up all your transits that way as well. So here endeth the lesson on how I find transits on Regulus. I hope that's of use to you, and hope you enjoy exploring that if you haven't already discovered those methods yourself. Okay, Frankie, thanks, bye-bye.